A16 Pix 11 is your local election headquarters, and this morning we continue our conversation with the mayoral candidates. Scott Stringer up next, former New York Assemblyman, Manhattan Borough President, and current Comptroller. And Scott Stringer joining me now live this morning. So good morning to you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
So, Mr. Stringer, I do want to begin with the allegations that surfaced against you yesterday. A former volunteer to your campaign for public advocate 20 years ago, Jean Kim, claims you groped her, put your hands on her thighs, and that you demanded to know why she would not have sex with you. What is your response this morning?
Oh, as I said yesterday, I categorically deny that in any way I did anything without her consent. We were friends for a very long time. It turned into something more for a brief time, and it was just totally consensual. We met 20 years ago. You're right, she was a volunteer, as many of my friends were volunteers. She was not an intern, as they claimed yesterday. She didn't work for me. She wanted to be hired by me in 2013, 12 years later, in the campaign for Comptroller. She submitted her resume, and we couldn't hire her. She then went to work for Eliot Spitzer, my rival in the campaign. But I'm just saying today that I do respect Jean's right to come forward and say what's on her mind and give her space to do that. I think that's very critical and important. I really believe in that. But I also am here today to absolutely refute those charges.
More specifically, I'm looking to see what was the extent of your relationship then. Jean Kim said yesterday, she told Arcady Corrado that there was never a romantic relationship. You're saying otherwise.
There was a relationship. Yes, I'm not going to detail it out of respect, but there was a relationship, and it was a friendship turned into something more, but there was nothing that wasn't consensual.
And you bring up that word consent. Fellow mayoral candidate Maya Wiley, she has come out, said that, quote, no one gets to tell a woman when it is consensual. Only a woman can say whether or not they gave consent. In this case, Jean Kim says she did not. So what did Jean Kim say, Mr. Stringer, or do, that made you believe there was consent here?
I was there with her over many years and months. We've had a long-standing friendship. We were in touch for over a decade, and I believe to my core that the allegations that were made are untrue.
Jean Kim also says, I remember him saying clearly to me, do not tell anybody about this. Was there ever such a conversation? And did you ever make an offer or political promise to Jean Kim that she would become a district leader?
This is absolutely not true. First of all, there was nothing to cover up. We never had a discussion about something that was untoward or wasn't consensual. So there was no quote unquote deal to be made. It's not what I do. And she was a member of our club, and she continued to go to club meetings up until, I think, 2013 for a long period of time. And again, I just want to reiterate, this situation 20 years ago, it was consensual.
Yeah, and you were in a position of power, sir, at the time of the alleged assault. Does that impact how would you define, you keep saying consensual, how you would define a consensual relationship? Did you have any relationships then with any other volunteers or interns as well?
So first of all, let me reiterate, Jean was never an intern. And for her to claim that is just wrong. She was a peer, she was a friend. And like almost all of my friends in my campaigns, volunteered and participated in the campaign. She was also a donor to me during that campaign. Interns aren't donors. They actually, adults are donors. And she was an adult who donated. And she donated to my campaigns right up to 2013, when then she went and worked for another candidate. So we very much had that peer-to-peer relationship. And that's the full facts.
You have called and been very outspoken. You have been right here on our air about Governor Andrew Cuomo, calling for him to resign over multiple sexual harassment allegations. Yet you have said the circumstances here are different when it comes to you. Why is this allegation different?
It's not that it comes to me. I mean, the situation with Governor Cuomo is just different. He has multiple serious allegations about workplace harassment. Obviously, there's investigation going on. my situation, I believe, is much different. This is also not who I am. It's not how I comport myself. And I do want to say again that I do think that Jean should come forward and say whatever she feels she needs to say, and I respect her for that. But I also want to say that where I see disagreement and where I can refute these allegations, I feel that I should.
You know, there have been calls for you to resign as controller, to drop out of the race from your fellow candidates right now. Will you be doing either?
Of course not. I'm out today. We're going to issue a very forward-thinking transportation proposal. We have a packed mayoral schedule. When I get off with you, we go into meetings. We got a city to rebuild, and we got a city to build back. And I believe that on day one, I'm ready for that challenge. And along the way, I will continue to answer questions and tell you exactly what I think and where I'm at. But we're ready to go. And look, my mayoral opponents, they can call on me to resign, but it's the people who will make the decision.
And that brings me then to your campaign, sir, since you say you're going to continue on and move forward. You have New York political experience, more political experience than the other candidates. However, the most recent polls show you trailing behind Andrew Yang, neck and neck with current Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. 26% of likely voters still undecided. How do you plan to win those undecided voters, especially now with the new allegations against you? Can they trust you?
Again, that's for the voters to decide. I'm going to make my case. The allegations that were put forth yesterday are categorically untrue, and I'm going to continue to point that out. Again, Ms. Kim was not an intern. We had a longstanding friendship and something more. She applied 12 years later for a job in my campaign. She kept in touch with our office, and the relationship ended after she went to work for Elliot Spitzer. But let me be clear, I will continue to give people the honest view of where I think all this is. And then the voters know me for 30 years. They trust me. I'll continue to go out and make my case, and they will have the final say, and that say is coming up. But I feel very good where the campaign is, and I hope to make my case. This city is worth fighting for.
And part of what you're fighting for is to overhaul the transportation system, right, in New York that involves the streets, the subways, even housing, really an all-encompassing, very vital part of New York City. Tell us more about your plan.
Well, look, we have 41 commuter stations, commuter rail stations, LIRR, Metro North. Rather than have a two-tier fare system, I want to bring, with the swipe of a Metro card, New York City residents can go and ride the rails because we're down 70% traffic in our transportation system. With that kind of cost savings for commuters in New York City, that would give them better commute times, but it would also give them more access to trains and stations. And at this moment in time, we have to do everything we can to bring our commuters back so we can bring the economy back.
Yeah, and part of those commuters don't want to go back into the trains, and we've been covering it here because they say they do not feel safe in the subways. As mayor, how would you tackle safety underground in the subway system? Do you think there needs to be more police?
I think the real challenge underground in the system right now is to come to terms with the fact that a lot of people who are homeless, a lot of people who have serious mental health issues are in the subway system because they're not getting services. So first and foremost, let's bring the mental health professionals into the subways, into the train stations, so that we can give them the help they need, find them supportive housing, get them into beds, get them, whether it's medicine or other form of therapy. That has to be the goal, and I hope we can get there.
And I think that goes hand in hand as well with gun violence as well. There are so many things we could talk about, but we are simply out of time, sir. I think transit is a big, big component on getting New York City up and running again. Scott Stringer, thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks for having me on. Thank you.